Hello, my name's Tomi Arayomi.
And I'm Tobi Arayomi.
This is On the Table.
We all have a life.
No web, no bed. No ringy, no doozy. Female, no female.
Hello guys and welcome back to another program of On the Table. Today we are tackling climate change. Is it real or is it a myth? Hey, we may get cancelled for having this very conversation.
Yeah.
We're also talking about
Biden's town hall speech.
Biden's town hall speech, which in case you didn't watch, was an absolute beauty.
And Boris may be lifting our lockdown situation by April. We may be allowed back out, guys.
But let's talk all things. Let's talk.
But Hancock warns we must behave.
Let's talk lockdown madness. Let's talk climate change, and let's talk about Biden, because people don't realize the reason we talk about America so much. Why do you guys talk about America? Leave America
It's
alone.
so interesting.
First of all, it's so interesting.
It's theatre.
It's like
It's
yeah,
pure
it is
theatre.
Pure theatre. Second of all, it's a great template to draw from as a preface to a conversation that's happening.
I mean, these are the
world.
distributors of democracy around the world. They're
So
a
cool.
great experiment to watch.
So cool. But before we do, my brother's got a video that he wants to show you all.
Because, you know, we got to have good vibes. Everything's going to be all right.
Everything gonna be Irish.
Everything's going to be fine. Everything good, you know. Everything calm. Everything Irish.
You sound like a pirate.
That's racist. That may be racist.
No, you don't sound
What
like
you
racist.
just said may be racist.
How
That
you
may
just
be
said it
offensive.
May be racist. You're
That
first of all,
may
cultural
be
appropriation.
offensive.
You're not Jamaican. Second of all, you sound like a pirate. Like, arr, arr, you are gonna be great. Everything's gonna be alright. Stop that. Just cue your video.
So I got this video, this kid, I posted on my social media, you know, it only got like 250,000 views. So this kid is on my social media, at Tobi Arayomi, Instagram. And he just, 300,000 views, sorry. He's just the cutest thing. You posted him, didn't you? How many views did you get?
I posted with the same caption. This is a great experiment in like culture things. Like I did the same caption, I copied everything you did. Actually, but the anomaly is my Instagram page is private, so only those that follow me can actually like
Nonsense.
it. So it doesn't actually
Nonsense. It's whom is posting it. Okay.
Anyway,
So I digress. So this
why are you sharing this now?
because everyone needs to know it's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be Irish.
Stay calm.
It's gonna be Irish.
Everything good now.
All right, take a look at
Okay,
this.
play this.
Don't worry about a thing. Every little thing's gonna be alright. I woke up this morning
I cringed on.
on my horizon. 3 little birds were on my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melody pure and true. And they said, this message is you. They said, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry
Let's sway now.
about a thing,
Everybody whispers in one.
'cause every
Get your
little
light up.
thing is gonna be alright.
That's what everyone needs to know.
Don't worry.
Oh, you playing it, yeah?
No, that's what everyone needs to know right now. I feel like all of you watching need to know
Every little
every little thing.
it's gonna be Irish.
It's gonna be all right.
Okay,
That's in the
actually,
Bible.
That lifted me a little bit. I can't lie.
It made you happy?
Made me a bit.
It's his little face when he goes.
Don't worry. Actually, it's kind of condescending.
No, it's like the worry evaporates.
Condescending.
No,
kid.
I watch him every day. Religiously.
every day?
Every day religiously, I watch him.
Oh, nice.
He makes me happy. Every day. He's, don't worry.
No,
and
he's
people
cute.
think he's
I
my
can't lie.
kid.
He's a cute kid.
I haven't denied it.
He's a cute kid. Oh, how do people
One
say-
day his parent may be watching, but
You don't know. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, thank you for that uplifting message. Don't worry about a thing. Every little thing is gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright.
I feel like someone's going to be offended with that.
I married a Jamaican woman. It doesn't matter. I can't be racist.
Can we? Okay, the editor's not going to take that out.
No,
Okay.
it's true. Can't be racist when you married one.
Okay.
Anyway, we digress. So, climate change. Let's talk about it.
Climate change.
Do we start there?
I want to start with what Biden said because I
Okay.
think it's hilarious.
Just say it. What did Biden say?
No, like, okay, so this guy's in his town hall meeting. They bring him out the basement for the town hall meeting. Like, if you don't want to hear this, it's fine. You are classical Plato's cave analogy. Like, you don't want to see. You just want to stay. I'll play it.
Okay, here.
Remember, we also played the Trump lawyer.
Everybody in the community, in the Hispanic and the African American community, particularly in rural areas that are distant and or inner city districts, know how to get online to determine how to get in line for that COVID vaccination.
But you know, wait. You know, like, you know what he's saying, like, and do you realize halfway through he's like, crap. He's
No.
like, part of his brain. No,
No.
there's a part of his brain. There's a little Joe sitting in his brain going,
It was at this moment.
"Shut up, Joe." There's a lawyer
It's
Joe.
No, it's Jill in his head.
No, there's a lawyer Joe.
Jill's in the audience going, Joe. No, Joe.
Shut up.
Maybe there's a thing that she does in the crowd when he's doing the Joe. She's like, okay, it's time to go. It's time to go,
Like,
Joe.
what would he's saying? You can see it's like when a preacher says, "I'm stupid," and they're trying to reverse. He's like, "We don't know if we're going online to get in line." With
going too fast.
what they're not able to use devices.
How can you sit there for years? Let's just be real, and call a president, a sitting president, racist, right? Okay, so Trump is incendiary. I find him incendiary. His comments.
Horrible words. If
Horrible
his last
incendiary.
speech, what I liked is he blew up a bomb. Great. He plugged into emotion, anger, because that's a great marketing ploy, by the way. Plug into emotion, he plugged into anger. Great. But at some point, his plane was now in the air.
It's time
Stabilize.
to just go. No, it's time to just go.
Now
on
balance.
autopilot and balance the plane out.
That's normal
It's not
now.
everywhere you go turbulence.
Let someone else write your
Have you ever
speeches
been on a
now.
flight that's just fully
Yeah,
turbulent?
yeah. It's not necessary.
That's what his 4 years was like.
But there was no turbulence. He wanted to create it. And I get it because every
was
time he
flying the
did,
plane, like,
every time he did though, he was just, because it's a real disease. Trump mania, what's it called?
Trump derangement syndrome.
It's a real thing. He literally would go, let me see what I could say for my golden toilet seat today
But
on
here's
Twitter.
the thing. The reason I'm mentioning this is because the Trump's lawyers helped him to be the president that's impeached twice in the House, but then passes through the Senate unimpeachable.
Yeah,
And the whole ploy.
yeah.
You might ask yourself, why would you try to impeach a president before he becomes a private citizen? Because you can't impeach a private citizen.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like,
It's
we've
weird.
got to impeach him right now before he becomes a private citizen. It's because if you have a criminal record, you can't run for president again. And so this whole thing about...
Was to make sure that this
I mean,
man
just think
never
about this.
rises
We are
again.
in the worst pandemic in our world.
But
And
somehow-
nobody's offended. Nobody's offended that we use this time for political theater to
Right.
sit down and have this impeachment trial.
Right.
The frustration for me of Trump, where I think Trump failed, is that Trump, when he was in power, forgave too easily.
We need to do a speech called Where Trump Failed,
We
OTT,
should.
called
man,
How
we should.
Trump
But I think one of his
failed.
biggest failures
The
was
fall
he,
of Trump.
He just forgave everybody. I mean, at least Democrats are aggressive. They're like, no,
Democrats
we're
will
gonna-
go for you.
Democrats, we're gonna.
He didn't
when
employ
they go
his
low,
own-
When they go low, we go high. Remember that.
Yeah, but
what
really-
they say is, when they go low, we.
No, when they go high, we kick them
we-
in the low
no,
blow.
when they go low, we kick them even lower. I mean, he lost. He lost. That's as low as it can get.
Yeah.
He lost.
Yeah.
Now, how he lost, that's up to a debate, and I know there's some people, he didn't lose, he won. Okay, how he lost is up for debate and stuff, and there's
leave
lots
that
of stuff
alone.
going on, but he lost.
He lost.
That is the biggest defeat. And then you just want to go, now let's impeach him. The only thing they haven't done is kill the brother.
Yeah.
I mean, they cancelled him from Twitter, cancelled him from Facebook.
Yeah.
This is persecution. This is political persecution.
It is.
And now he's a private citizen, and they're still going after him for criminal.
It's
charges. But
amazing to
here's
me
the
how
thing that I thought
how
was-
grown people, how we haven't grown up. I still see the same kind of school playground
No, we
tactics
are-
played out in theatre, like grown adults in
I wanna
what's
show
it,
you this
babies
video
in
that
adults' bodies.
My brother shared with me, right? I put an interesting caption on
So the kitchen is
I
clean,
love
I
this
did the
video.
laundry, so I think everything is good. Okay, my dear, thank you. Oh, I love you. Oh, sorry. Was there someone else inside the room? No, I'm just telling you that I appreciate you, and that I love you. Mom. But why? You're our first daughter, and you have made us proud, so that's why, that's why we love you. But I'm 37, and your mother now say I love you. Hey, it's so sharp. It's like my lungs are crystallized. You behave like an idiot sometimes. No, mommy, that's good. It's kind of happy to relieve it. Hey, my therapist will hear about this.
Isn't this so interesting? So the reason I'm sharing this is because I reposted it. I said, why should this post, shout out to Beverly and Daisy, by the way, why should this post by Beverly and Daisy have to be so funny yet so true? Africans, or basically the world now,
Yeah.
may we do better by our children, lest they grow into fatherless leaders of our nations and angry children in adult bodies with power.
Correct.
Isn't that what we got right
Correct.
now?
We got a whole bunch of people who are espousing their lack of values on the world. It's almost like darkness. There's no light in it. It's just their absence that they've indoctrinated us by. And so the disintegration of family values is basically, well, I didn't have a nuclear home. My heart was broken, so break the world.
So
and
you're-
indoctrinate
yeah.
the broken world with your broken values.
It's almost as if saying, well, the nuclear family never worked for me.
So it
hurt
should
me
not
so
work for
bad
you.
That it should not work
And I'm
for
going to
you.
create a climate and a culture in which it doesn't work for you, and I'm going to do something so smart, I'm going to train your children. This is the thing, the difference between right and left, I'll say. The left wingers have skill and craft. Right wingers, if you talk about it in boxing terms, right wingers are always headhunting. They're looking for the headshots. Left wingers, they're working the body, they're working the legs, they're disabling different parts.
Exactly.
Then they knock you
They
to
do
the
the
head.
slow kill. They
do
play
a
the long game.
Right, we're trying to hit
This
that.
is what. This is
If
what,
we do a movie
what
versus
bothers
they
me.
do a movie, we do a movie, Christians do a movie, my goodness.
No, but
It's just headhunting. Jesus loves you. It's like,
it's like, I don't want.
Tell
and it's
the
always in a bar,
story.
right?
Yeah.
Jesus loves
and the
you,
guy's
man.
always drunk and it's like,
Why does Jesus love me?
I just want to tell you something, Jack. It's always Jack. And he's always got a daughter who's estranged from him, who's struggling in university with her faith. Jesus loves you.
Where was
Music.
Jesus? Where was Jesus? Jesus doesn't
Jam,
love me.
jam,
Where was Jesus when my son died? And they always.
I'll
say,
tell you
and
where
they,
he
and
was.
They always say.
He-
And they always say flipping because you can't swear. Where was Jesus when my flipping son died?
Oh my goodness.
Rated 18.
And it's like,
They'll beep it. Where was Jesus when my
Beep.
flipping son died?
the same place he was when his son died. Slow motion.
But why are we like
It's
this?
dead.
Why are we like this?
It's dead.
yet
And then you get left wingers, they will
left-wing,
tell a
no.
long
Let me tell you
story.
what left wing do. They
Marvel.
They blow up buildings. They blow up planes. Their cars flip over. Their budget is huge.
And someone I know is going to quote, well, you need to watch the Left Behind series. First of all, theologically, gone. Gone. Yeah? Just no. Just no.
You're rude.
Secondly, like, it was kind of entertaining. I can't
Alright.
deny it. The
Alright, but
Alexander
it needed
Antichrist
some-
guy scared me
Why
some.
is it that the only people that can make good Christian movies are not born again? Why is it that we have the Passion of Christ written by Mel Gibson?
I'll tell you why. Because Jesus said it like this. He said, I was going to use the other one. I'll use a nicer one. How much more wise are the sons of this world than the sons of
Can
the
I tell you
kingdom?
something about that I found about the Christian community?
By the way, disclaimer, this is not us speaking in our capacity as leaders of the body of Christ or whatever. We're talking like Tobi. Let us
having a
be.
brotherly conversation and inviting you.
You get to come into our conversation.
Don't
Please,
make
it's
a
not
video
every
about
day
us.
pigeonhole us in.
Please, we're just talking.
We're just talking.
We're talking to you. If you agree, agree. If you disagree, disagree
But
politely.
you don't need to, you know.
But don't, you know. But one thing I've learned is Christians have loads of money.
Do they?
No, bro. The Christian world is loaded financially. Loaded.
No.
No.
Where?
Bro,
Where did I even
I've
say?
been to Nigeria. Do you know the...
Oh, no,
No.
listen, Nigeria different.
No, I've been to...
Nigeria
bro,
different.
Bro,
Nigeria
no, okay,
different.
bro, Elam. Bro, I can... No. I'm not even going to talk about this because people are going to write me up. But there are wealthy churches, not just the Catholic Church. Catholic Church is rich.
I don't
Church
know,
of
bro.
England owns
Yeah,
more real
assets,
estate
yeah.
than most people we know.
Yeah.
But the problem is we're investing all our money into buildings. We're building monuments and not movies. We're not like, hey, let's apostolically do this.
Yeah.
Jesus.
We can't culture shape
we
from the
can't-
pulpit.
Exactly. And we're not thinking about culture shaping, actually.
No, we're
just
thinking about Jesus coming and just
Jesus
surviving
coming
till he
and
gets here.
separating ourselves from culture as much as possible.
Yeah.
And going back to that John the
And yeah, this is why they
Baptistian
didn't get him.
gospel.
Yeah, exactly. John the Baptist is a quarantine gospel. He gets out of
Quarantine
he gets out of the political sphere because Rome
Sin
and
19.
the priesthood had merged. So he removes himself from the political sphere.
It's a t-shirt, by the way. Sin 19.
What's that?
Stop the spread. It's a t-shirt.
Oh gosh.
Oh, you gonna buy it. Think about it.
No,
Sin
I'm not
19,
gonna
stop
buy
the
it.
spread. If you're gonna buy it, give this video a like and subscribe and
Oh,
share.
so no.
You're gonna buy it. Sin 19, stop the spread.
And then Christians will start quarantining from everyone because it's like, don't touch me, sinner. Anyway, you've got this quarantine gospel, John the Baptist. This is why some people comment, I thought we're coming here to hear about Jesus. What are these two nincompoops talking about?
Talking
Yeah.
about intelligence.
Government. Here, John the Baptist removes himself from the political religious mix-up that was going on in his day, and he stays in Judea and with
the
a
wilderness,
bunch of
in
people in the
Jordan,
wilderness, and just relaxes there and teaches.
relax,
And they're
come on,
separate.
people
They are
are-
very
My guy's
separated.
locust.
Yeah, but they are very separatist in their mentality. Jesus is different. He's like, that's the
Just
mud.
Think about the confusion.
That's why he washed the disciples' feet. Remember, he said, your whole body's clean.
It's just your feet. That
It's just
go
your feet.
into the
You're
dirty
getting
places,
into
and
this
into
dirt.
the
You're
dirt.
getting involved in
Right
this
now we
dirt.
ceremonially wash. We're like, I'm gonna do a foot washing, but don't touch the world. But we're gonna
Yes,
wash your
like,
feet.
the only reason he said wash your feet, man, is because you're going into those
The whole body
places.
is clean already. You've had a bath. It's the feet that need to go.
It's where we're
And
going
like
to
interesting
tread.
that I was meditating on this morning, right?
Mm.
You know, there's that thing that people hate. Preachers have really come out and dogged this. Preach the gospel and only if necessary use words. Like, people have dogged this. They said, no, you must use words. Actually, when I look at where the gospel is, the Bible says beautiful are the feet of those who bear the
Ooh,
gospel.
not the mouth.
And then the Ephesians goes, shod yourself with the readiness, shod your feet with the readiness of the gospel.
It's talking about the verb
It's
gospel.
like the gospel's got to go.
It's the
not
verb.
if
It's the
not-
verb gospel.
If it's not affecting culture, it's not the gospel. If it's just telling
And this
people how
doesn't mean
to,
don't speak, because your mouth is
absolutely.
very powerful. But what's being said here is, you know, the Bible says, woe to a man who boasts of a gift he doesn't have. You're talking about something, and you read this in Scripture. Let's give them more. It says, the kingdom is not in
much talk.
much talk, but it's
It's in
in
power and
demonstration, in power.
demonstration.
And power is the ability to produce results.
Absolutely.
You know, Jesus actually said, you're not following me because of me. You're following me because I made bread and loaves that I can multiply food. It seems to come from nowhere. He actually said it. You're following me because I provide solutions. I meet needs. And right now, man,
It's like, why are we following
I was
people
talking to
who
my-
who aren't meeting needs?
I was talking to my my CMO just the other day. No, creative officer, CC or whatever. All these Ozos. And I was talking to her, and we were talking about she works for Sony, and she was talking about technology that they're moving in and all this stuff. I said, doesn't this make you happy and sad? I said, why? I said, right now, maybe as a church, we're talking about Parler just got kicked off of Apple and Amazon. Let's create our own Parler. But I bet you, they're already so far beyond app stores.
They're not
and
even talking about apps anymore.
they're talking about something else. Maybe implanting
retinal
something in the
technology.
head, or something behind your eye that you can close your eyes and see, or virtual implants, or virtual rooms. So we're still playing catch up. And they're like, yeah, let them play with those toys. We're over here now. The market has changed.
Yeah. Okay, so let's try and get back to the point.
Nah,
That
no,
way,
I know.
Otherwise, I know we can go into
Why?
this subject for a while. So
Whew.
here are people saying, for instance, Donald Trump is a racist. Donald Trump is a bigot because he says he implies racist things. He says there were bad people on both, good people on both sides, right? But
Fabricated
Trump's
stories.
Trump's lawyer in the impeachment trial. Most people who don't watch this, because most people today watch sound bites.
Sound bites.
We live in a 60-second generation, and if it's not said in 100 and something characters, we're not watching it. People will watch the soundbite, but
Yeah.
never watch the whole video.
Yeah,
It's like the
it's
same
amazing how prone we are still to propaganda.
Yeah,
But
it's
it's as old as time. Yet the guy who wrote the book Propaganda said basically people are dumb animals, and all you need to do is appeal to emotion. They rarely make intellectual decisions.
Right.
All you need to do is appeal to emotion.
We
So
are in
all
a-
this soundbite information,
we're in a-
news is now
The problem
entertainment.
is we're in a content generation.
Yes,
Content. Everything's
But
about
quick.
content. People want to know what the key of marketing is. Content.
but quick.
It's what
I don't
you
want to
do.
read a book anymore.
No, it's not. That's
I need it.
That's the problem. Books are context. We're in a content without context generation.
Come on now.
Nothing has a preface
Somebody say
anymore.
amen.
Good books have prefaces. You read
Somebody
the preface
shouts.
so that you understand the premise and the intent and the heart of the author. That's why you have prefaces in books.
But we're in a world that doesn't like context anymore. You could
don't
tweet
like
something,
context.
like I even said something on your channel the other day. Within context, I couldn't believe it, how somebody who chose to be offended, and the choice to be offended is the choice to take something out of context. It's like people are looking for it now.
They're looking
They're
for it.
looking
They're
for
like,
the opportunity
what
to
do you
take
mean by
content
that?
without context.
What do you mean by that? I mean,
Somebody actually, this person on your chat actually said, what about people who can't have babies? Remember when I made the comment about global warming and climate change and how these climatologists are saying, well, we're not going to have babies because we don't want to contribute to the climate footprint and all. That was the context. And they say, well, we're not going to have babies because so they're saying, we'll still drive our cars up and down and take private jets, but we won't bring life into the world and have babies. I say, well, those people shouldn't reproduce because that's stupidity. And God forbid they reproduce that level of stupidity. Then somebody without the context said,
let me just put this.
you should be sensitive. What about people who can't have babies? It's like, oh, I'm talking about people who can't have babies.
Exactly.
But
No,
you can
I
have,
put-
this is what, this world is so offended, so tunnel vision.
We're so hyper triggered and hyper offended
Hyper-triggered.
that everything we hear, we
Your
hear
top
it-
could offend somebody.
We build it.
Your
within
beard
the
will offend
framework
somebody.
of our own context. We
Yeah, that's offense.
And so basically,
own
we are
context.
not trying to understand the context of the person. Now imagine that kind of
Takes
mind.
too much intelligence,
Imagine
yeah.
that kind of mind reading the Bible. Imagine reading the Bible within the framework of your context.
That's where cults come from.
Your offended context, your hurt context, your wounded context, your sad context, your depraved context. Now you've got a whole scripture loaded with things that can work within your framework
Yeah.
to justify certain ways and behaviors and actions. I put out a tweet the other day. Pull up this tweet. This tweet says, "There's nothing." I said, "Depression is not a mental health crisis; it's a spiritual health crisis."
Yes, at
I
its
thought,
root, yes.
That sounds about right. I mean, we all know it's called in Isaiah the spirit of heaviness. It's the spirit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something.
And you quote this great scripture that God talks about, the more wicked we become, the more he gives us over to.
Yeah, like Deuteronomy 28 says, that these curses will overtake you if you leave me. A nation that leaves God. And one of them is, I will strike you and your children with madness.
Boop.
Like, there is a mental health crisis
Yeah.
that we don't realize is because we're turning away from God.
Yeah.
Look at all the policies that we're putting in place. Not
We got mad
not
people leading us.
breastfeeding, human feeding, chest
Human
feeding.
feeding.
I mean,
We have
where are
mad people leading
We got
us.
the crazies running the asylum. And here's the thing. So Christians rebutted quickly and tried to, because within there, they heard content, but they heard it within their own context. They're like,
Yes.
oh my goodness, this guy's so stupid. Oh my goodness, somebody said to me, with respect, sir, you're so stupid. I said, with respect, sir, are you always this dumb, or are you just showing off around me? Right? This guy just outright went onto Twitter and just started blasting me. For about 10 minutes, we did a back and forth, because people say that's petty. Listen, I give as good as I get. I'm not a rollover Christian. I can't do that. I know somebody's going, well, what happened to turn the other cheek? You gotta, if they give you one cheek, you gotta give them the other cheek. That was Roman centurions who were oppressors of the people. You know, this is the thing about Christians. They don't
Jesus,
understand.
when Pharisees came to him
Pharisees
to
came
talk,
to
he did not go.
Jesus was like, you guys are
He said, I
snakes.
need to correct you.
I need to correct your
I need to
ways.
correct your
I need
madness.
to I need to
Something
rewire
is-
you.
something is
wrong.
something is
We got
disorganized in your
Christians
head.
rolling over in the name of a scripture that they have taken outside of its context. See what I'm saying? It's like if they're in authority and they slap you. It says, just do the Martin Luther King thing and turn the other cheek. But somebody who's not an authority in my life is telling me, with respect, I'm dumb, and I should just go, please, slap my other cheek, sir. No!
With respect,
Paul
sir.
said, I admit I was too weak for that. Some of you let people roll over you. Paul said, I admit to my shit, I was too weak for that. I can't let you just doing whatever with me just in here. So anyway, the point
The
I'm trying to
offense
make
within the context of what we see.
Yeah, the
Yes.
point I'm trying to make is it was content without context.
But do you know where all that comes from?
Sorry, go for it.
Do you know where all that comes from? It comes from secular humanism. It's the ideology that there's no objective morality anymore.
Absolutely.
Get rid of the Ten Commandments, because that's an external observance. Don't murder, don't kill, don't... All truth is subjective.
Yeah.
So how do I know when I've broken the rules? This is the Twitter problem. This is the YouTube problem. You did a video on the vaccine, right? The other day. What did YouTube do immediately? They removed
They
it.
removed it.
And
this
then they
isn't
said,
even
you know
Letitia
what,
Wright one.
fine, let's put it back up.
Yeah.
Because it supported their
worldview.
narrative and their worldview. So if truth is now subjective, then it's within my context. And then you hear this thing on Twitter, this millennial Gen Z invention called, you have to say it with an American accent, my truth. You can't say it any other way. You got to say, and you got to say
And
truth.
Christians are saying
You got to
it
say
too.
truth.
Christians are saying it too.
While you're spreading avocado over your bread, you got to say truth.
I'm living.
I'm living my
literally-
truth.
it's
Don't
time.
talk about her, because that's her
truth.
truth.
Listen, can I just say something? There are no two versions of the truth. There's only one truth. There's no two versions of the
Right.
truth. There are no, truth is not a double-sided coin. That's the thing. There are no two versions of the truth.
Remember in philosophy how they confused us about subjective truth and not? They said, what's good? What's bad? And we would answer clearly, because, children are like innocent and smart. How they cracked our skull.
But
They
it's so
said,
easy to
so
define.
if I have a good knife, what made it good? Is it because it's sharp? Is it because it's shiny and clean? So if I take that knife and stab someone, is that knife now bad?
Yeah.
And we'll be in philosophy like we were on LSD, like,
Oh, that's deep. But
That's so
here's
deep,
a good litmus test for what's good and bad, right?
No one is here.
There are natural consequences embedded and codified into my actions that are there to keep me in line anyway from violating those laws.
Yeah.
It's like jumping out of a plane, right?
Yes.
The natural consequence without a parachute is that I'm going to die. That's how you know laws from rules, right?
Right.
That there are embedded consequences for violation of them. If I kill somebody, my conscience is violated. Everybody knows these things.
Yeah.
We
If
know
you
it,
sleep around,
You
then
feel
you're
it.
going to be taking trips to the clinic every Friday. I know friends, and it's not, people go, oh, don't judge. I know people back in the day who every single Friday they're at the clinic to find out, because it's a game of Russian roulette. You don't know.
Exactly.
So to know that marriage is good, look up the consequences that come of having children outside of wedlock. You just need to look at the effect of the cause.
And then there's a hyperinflation of the don't judge me generation. Don't judge me.
Don't judge
God
me.
can judge me.
And
You know,
that's
you should
that.
be really
Do you remember what we
afraid
said
if
in?
you say only God can judge me?
Right.
I mean, you should just be terrified at that point.
Yeah.
Because he will judge us.
Yeah.
He's going to. And you should be terrified. You should be more in love with with righteous judgment. Than actually God one day looking at us, who, by the way, shows no partiality.
Yeah.
There's no deference. There's no, hey, what's your skin color, by the way? Oh, yeah, I support you because you are the victim today. Oh,
Yeah.
what's your gender? Oh, you're a woman? Yeah.
Do you know something? I'm going to be blunt. This is going to hurt a lot of people.
Oh, gosh.
They were doing, in Marvel, they were doing this political thing where they were getting female directors because there were too many male directors. And so they got female directors to direct certain shows. They didn't choose them based off of the quality of the skill of what they produce. They judged them not by the content of what they have, but literally by the external, the reverse of the Martin Luther King,
In other words,
or the
if
gender.
Martin Luther King reversed, it would say,
Don't
I have a
judge.
dream that one day we will be judged, not for the content of our character,
but for the color of our
skin.
And that's
where we are.
social engineering. So I'm not saying there are bad female directors. There are probably phenomenal female directors. But when you
right.
choose them based off of that reasoning alone, like for example, Serena Williams went on to win more Grand Slams than men. So to say that women are lesser than men, she's smashed something in sports records, right? But this lady produced Captain Marvel. Bro, did you sit in the cinema with Captain Marvel? It was the deadest of the Marvel.
bad.
But, hear this. What were the reviews like? Remember the reviews? Everybody was saying, amazing, finally female, breakthrough movie, programmers.
Breakthrough.
And
We've
literally,
made it. Here's the thing.
when you sat in that cinema, wasn't it the deadest of deadest?
Preface what you're saying off of Biden. Biden picked a new Treasury Secretary. Her name is Janet Yellen, right? This is a great day for America because finally a woman is the Treasury Secretary.
What's the qualification?
It doesn't matter. She's a woman. So every newspaper's running the most prepared woman in Washington. Joe Biden
Magically,
named
she's the most prepared?
diverse economic team with first female Secretary of the Treasury. And so now when that woman, I can't remember her name, the redhead woman, the press secretary, what's her name, is speaking.
Oh yes, she's
so it's
not doing a
it's
good
like,
job.
So what do you think about the fact that the economy is tanking all over America right now? Excuse me. Biden has picked a female. I think we should watch it. Take a look at this.
Is the White House concerned about the stock market activity we're seeing around GameStop, and now with some other stocks as well, including the subsidiary or whatever, the company that was Blockbuster? And have there been any conversations with the SEC about how to proceed?
Well, I'm also happy to repeat that we have the first female Treasury Secretary and a team that's surrounding her, and often questions about market we'll send to them. But our team is, of course, our economic team, including Secretary Yellen and others, are monitoring the situation. It's a good reminder, though, that the stock market isn't the only measure of the health of our economy. It doesn't reflect how working and middle-class families are doing. As you all know,
So basically, she's saying,
So
it's good to
everybody's
remember the
pension
stock
is in the
market
stock
isn't the
market.
only indicator of the American economy and how
It's
well
the
it's doing.
fact that we have
Just
a woman.
remember, we have a female press secretary. So don't shut up. This is a great day for females. Stop.
But you see what they're
stop
doing.
Fighting
But
against
you
us.
see what
we
they're
have a
doing.
woman in power.
But it's very smart. It works. Because again, people do not make intellectual decisions. They make emotional ones. They are feeding the That's what you say, follow your gut. They're feeding the gut, the instinct, the emotional feel of
And
people.
last time I checked,
Man.
nothing good is in the gut.
Right.
Last time I checked, it ain't good down there in that gut.
I
But-
don't know if I should
but-
take back that song. Don't worry now.
But I think
Maybe
that,
say
no, but I think this
worry.
is the biggest problem we have. I think this is the biggest problem we have
What?
with where we see the world going with the Biden administration. I think the biggest problem we can foresee going forward is this new plan called Affirmative Action. You've heard of Affirmative Action,
Yeah.
right? Affirmative Action, for those people who don't know, is basically it's a doctrine.
Huh?
Affirmative Action, I'm going to explain it, is a doctrine that's being trafficked all over our schools right now. America, UK.
I know it.
It's receiving some backlash here in the UK, but it's in workplaces.
Is this the new
Trump
woke doctrine?
Yeah, Trump tried to shut it down from being taught in the
It's very,
FBI.
very annoying.
Why should we need to teach it in the federal government anyway? That's really dangerous. But
Yeah.
but it's like loads of people are being paid millions of pounds. You can be rich, by the way,
I
doing
might
this.
have to check
To
this
go
out.
to different places and institutions and teach them about their whiteness. Coca-Cola just came out with this new teaching, by the way. They're now the new woke. Check out this video by Ben Shapiro on Coca-Cola is now woke.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Just look at this. We can watch the Crowder one. Just look. I'm gonna fast forward to the top.
I know Van Halen did Crystal Pepsi. They were like,
Mandatory training video for Coca-Cola because these are the front lines of the race war.
And every moment that I spend in white space, I am being deeply reinforced in the white worldview. Oh, why can't we all just be human beings here? Why do we have to talk about race? I'm going to invalidate your experience. I'm a fish and I'm in water and I'm moving with the current and you're trying to take me out of the water and it's unbearable.
At first I thought I was...
So this is the like affirmative action training that now is being taught in every
And you could probably be
institution
fired if you
in
don't follow
society. And by the way, it's also being taught in our schools.
Yeah.
Like the crazy thing is, a parent caught her child. Do you remember that? Parent caught their child on Zoom being taught affirmative action, and stopped the child. I mean, she was upset. Let me show it.
That's the thing when the government controls it. We need to take our kids back. Forget how hard it is to homeschool. Homeschool. Like, this is the thing about, anyway, do we go there, the feminist movement and getting women out the home and all this, you gave your kids to the government. Do you realize that? The disintegration of the family values. Men aren't working anymore. They've left the family. You've left your kids to the government.
Mm-hmm. So the idea of affirmative action, by the way, I wish I could find the video, but it's basically a video of a parent listening in on the school kids being taught about their whiteness, basically being a problem, and how they need to be basically apologize and repent for being white. Just think about this, the damage to the psyche of these young people.
You're
And
talking
the
about
fact-
self-esteem
here's
being
the thing
built
that
at
bothers
that
me.
age. It's
Here's the thing that
insane.
bothers me.
It's
We have
insane.
no pastors, no spiritual leaders standing up to say, this has to stop. Especially those of us in the black community who knew what it meant to go through this level of racism. You cannot combat racism with more racism. Because here's the thing about affirmative action. Affirmative action basically says, who's the bigger victim? Like you rightly called it,
Yeah.
the victim Olympics,
Yeah.
right? So you find the black person, you go, you're a victim because you're black. Then you find the black gay person, you're a victim because you're black and gay. Then you find the black
LGBT,
transgender, questioning non-binary person. You go, you're a victim because you're black, questioning non-binary person. And so all of a sudden, in everything you have to do, now by the way, the Oscars are only awarding people Oscars who fulfill certain quota criteria, meaning you have to have a gay person in your movie, you have to have a black person, you have to have this.
It's pure
And
indoctrination.
and so you have to fulfill these quotas. A lot of our friends, I'm not trying to be rude here, but a lot of our friends got into Cambridge and Oxford who were black. A lot. And we looked and we go, huh? How'd you get into Cambridge and Oxford? And some of them got in on the basis of excellent grades. I know that. I have friends who got in on the basis of excellent grades. But some people got in on the basis of this affirmative action and fulfilling quotas.
Yeah.
And how what is more racist? come on.
Lowering the
Then somebody's
bar?
sitting there and going, how many of the blacks do we have? Do we have enough blacks? Do we have enough of the blacks? Okay, let's try and get some of the browns now. Like, what do? Do you sit there with like a template of color?
And this
like,
doesn't, but
hold it
you
next
have
to
to
the face
also,
of the person and go, how black are you?
Yeah.
And what do you do with the mixed race people?
Yeah.
Do you say,
But to provide a bit of a balance, not a counter argument, but a bit of a balance, you also can't deny that for a while black people were even too afraid to say their full African name because they just knew that even when I worked in recruitment, I'll be very honest with you, when I worked in recruitment, I was told, if you see an African name, don't employ them.
I hear that, bro.
I was literally told, if you see these names, don't employ them. But I'm going to say something that's going to shock a lot of people, may hurt a lot of people. I broke that rule a lot of times. When they'll say, don't employ them. Literally, this would be the response. I'd employ a social worker. They'll say, what's his name? Let me see. I say, Femi. They'll go, so what's wrong with this? Is this racism? Like, I'm feeling a bit offended myself. And I'll say, look, I'm an African Nigerian, employ this person. And this wasn't true of everyone. That's the problem. It wasn't true of everyone. But there was this a stigma in the database around the black people for some reason. Lateness, stole laptop, said something about casting a demon out of a child. There's a few of them, different things like that. But then you had these excellent group of black workers who I had to keep on a separate list because they were phenomenal, showed up on time, didn't make excuses, didn't bury their grandma every week, you know, because we always have someone who buried their grandma every single week, said their grandma died, weren't showing up late on their own time when they wanted to show up. All of these things I noticed, and that might really offend, but listen, I was in recruitment. This is what I experienced, what I saw. There's something on both sides. There's something on a side. There's a phenomenon that exists that they call white privilege. I can't call it that. It exists. Whatever it is that exists, I think it's been misnamed. It's been wrongly named to categorize an entire group because of this, whatever this thing is that exists. I can formulate a better word for it if I had time to think. But on our side also, we have to work to break down our complicit nature with agreeing with that stereotype and narrative. For example, we get our chance to direct our own movies. Guess what we do? We criminalize our black men again. We make them do drugs because we know that's what the market needs and wants. So 50 Cent gets to do his own show called Power. What's it about? It's about a black guy, can't stay in his home, can't stabilize his family, goes and shoots people up, makes sure. So we're both, it's like the cigarette packets that say on the back of it causes cancer. We're essentially trying to renew our image, but at the same time, we're feeding.
That wants us to be presented a certain way.
Precisely.
And then every movie wants the loud black girl who works in the sector who's always like, "You're crazy. I ain't doing that." The eccentric, loud stereotype.
You don't see in movies an intelligent. I love movies about intelligent. There was a great one. I forget the name of the black female mathematician who worked for NASA. And she, the white people took the right for her work. I forget her name. Imagine if there were more movies like that. Imagine if there were more films that created family values.
But here's my torment with affirmative action. My torment is that we don't realize that the ones that are championing it are white.
Yes.
Let's just be clear. This woman who's making loads of money.
A lot of
She's
money.
making millions, by the way.
Yeah.
Doing Coca-Cola, LinkedIn. Yeah. All of these people are like, we want the work training. The FBI, the army are now getting this work training. She's making millions.
Yeah.
She's white.
Yeah.
No.
So the money is still leaving the community.
She's not redistributing her wealth to you.
Right.
The preachers of white privilege.
Yeah.
The preachers of it, the evangelists of it, most of them are white, and they're getting enriched off of it. That's, first of all, the first biggest problem. The second biggest problem is that they are becoming powerful in your demise, because anyone you infantilize needs a parent.
Yes.
Look at this. We told black people for a whole year, look what the police officers are doing to you. By the way, that stopped.
Magically.
It's just disappeared.
Magically,
I mean,
it's
black
disappeared.
people are no longer being killed by police. It's just disappeared. It's gone now. Trump's gone. Whew.
Yeah, it
Now-
makes
now,
you kind of
it's
think.
almost as if
It does make you think
It's
if you
almost
really
as if-
think, and you don't want to be conspiracy theorist, but you kind of think like,
no.
That's
No,
interesting.
it's happening right now. The problem is the camera's not on it anymore because
It's not
like,
interested.
We got that guy out the White House.
Yeah.
We got the white guy out the White House, but guess what we did? We put another white guy in the White House.
yeah, but Lives Matter and Antifa are still burning down government buildings. But don't
But
worry,
you don't understand
it's
what
not
I'm
Trump
trying to
supporters
say.
doing it, so it doesn't matter.
We educated the African American into this infantilized state, and then those who infantilize you are the ones that inevitably
And the new Uncle Tom,
have power over
and the
you
new Uncle Tom,
and become your presidents
Yeah.
and sell you and sell people packages
Yeah.
and commercialize your victims.
if I can come
You're
up
not
with, if I
making
can
money
come up
from
with
it.
a new word, let me call it misvillainization instead of misgendering. And I thought, so what misvillainization is? It's when we call people Hitler at the expense of people who really are acting like Hitler. So at least for your time, racism actually meant something. Not everybody's racist just for saying, I didn't agree with the fact that she should be fired for something she said 25 years ago when her views have changed. Now they call it second-hand racism. It's a new thing.
Yeah.
Now, there's that. Now, on top of that, I was going somewhere with this, the misnaming. It was linked to something that you said earlier. Oh, that's so annoying. I was going somewhere with it.
I don't know.
The misnaming.
I don't know. The calling of me Hitler when you're Hitler.
Yeah. So now there's a misnaming in Uncle Tomism. What's Uncle Tom? Uncle Tom was the slave. It was the house Negro, right? He was
One that tattled on the
he told on the slaves. He had more privileges than them.
It was the
He probably
house.
could speak better
He probably could read.
American. He could maybe he could read, or they let him have some privileges. They'll call him the Uncle Tom of the house, right? The new Uncle Tom, people like Candace Owens are called Uncle Tom, or Tom Sowell or whatever are called Uncle Toms for telling black people you can be independent, you can stand on your own, create your own economy. You can. Booker T. Washington would be a modern day Uncle Tom, telling people. I mean, we forgot an entire dispensation called Black Wall Street. It really existed, a utopian time of black people rising in business, creating great industry. They were being exported all over Europe because of their intelligence and their genius. Suddenly was burnt down.
And Beethoven was black. Who knew?
Let's leave it alone. Let's leave it alone for now.
Who knew?
But do you see this? The new Uncle Tom is the rap stars who tell us shut up and vote Democrat. The new Uncle Tom is that guy from Captain Marvel who I now can't. I just watch him on the Marvel
Don
movies.
Cheadle.
Don Cheadle. It's a misdirection. It's like we're calling the wrong people the Uncle
the
Toms.
Uncle
The
Toms-
real Uncle
I-
Toms are the people who are cracking a whip on black people, even though they're living in their mansions,
Absolutely.
going, "Hey, shut up, you
The
talking
new
about
Uncle
black
Toms
empowerment."
live-
These guys are
The
victims.
the Uncle Toms.
We got
the
through 'cause
new-
we're
let me tell
lucky.
you who the real Uncle Toms are. The real Uncle Toms are the people who live in privilege, enrichment, wealthy beyond imagination.
Yeah,
And they're the ones who are saying, I'm a victim.
yeah.
I'm a wealthy victim. Listen, you're a wealthy victim? Tell that to the person living in the suburbs of Chicago in the projects who's black and can barely rub two coins together. But it's like we're listening to those people.
Yeah.
And the last time I checked, Uncle Tom lived in the house whilst the rest were in the field. I mean, we got one living in the White House right now. I mean, we're like, she's the vice president now.
Yeah.
Why isn't she the president? Excuse me. If we're in a time of affirmative action,
Why didn't they put her first?
why is she not the president?
Do you know why? Because affirmative action will, and let me tell you what Biden's doing. It is affirmative action. He is using his privilege rightly. That's what they call it, So once you recognize your privilege, you've got to use it and hand it over. You've got to anoint. So he's using his privilege. You'll see this. Watch. Mark my words. At some point. You see the way he was talking?
Yeah, I don't believe it.
At some point, he's going to move to the back.
No, let me tell you what.
At some point,
okay,
Kamala's
he
going to
will,
get
but let me tell
ordained.
let me tell you, if he's using his privilege wisely.
No, that's what they're saying.
No,
I'm not
let me
saying
tell
that's
you,
true.
If he's using his privilege wisely, the moment he became president, he should have stood down.
Yeah.
So why is he still there?
Because it'll be too soon.
He
It'll be
loves
too
power.
abrupt. No, it'll be
He
too
loves
abrupt.
power.
It'll be too abrupt.
He loves power.
The man doesn't like power.
He loves power.
The man, he's just there. Listen, he wants to retire.
He loves power.
The man wants to retire. They bought him out just
The
to say,
man
be
has
safe.
Okay, I agree with you on that.
At some point,
at some point they are going to.
but my point is, we're misdirecting. If there was a devil, he's saying, call the right people, the Uncle Toms, whatever. We are on number, black people, even in this country, America, we are on number. We are putting into power the people who keep us broke, because we don't understand psychological pressures that are being placed on us. The same empirical forces that were used to keep the empire, the British Empire, under control through education and mind control, by collectivizing them into cluster groups.
Control. Think about this as well. Entertainment.
Entertainment.
Right?
Oh,
Remember
hugely
the
used.
days when the economy was tanking in the Roman Empire. The best thing that they did was like, let's build theaters, let's build colosseums, let gladiators now come and fight one another, so that the dumbed masses, the peasantry class, are, and you said something about the enlightened class that I would want to mention. The dumb masses, the peasantry class, are kept in their place.
Yes.
They're kept down, and the rest of us can keep running the state and enriching ourselves off of the state. We have that today. Look, it doesn't matter now. As long as Lady Gaga endorses it.
Yeah.
As long
Did you see, what's her name, talking to Biden? What's her name?
Cardi B.
Cardi B talking about, hey Biden.
Hey, Biden.
Are you going to give us consensus?
Oh,
I was like, oh, no.
Biden,
If I could
just
say
think
no.
what Biden thinks.
No.
Think what Biden thinks of Black America. If the person that is the ambassador for Black America wrote a song called Wet Something Something. I can't even say the words. I tried. I can't even say the words.
Just blanket.
Just the abbreviation.
What? Beep, beep.
WAP. Just think about that.
You Google it if you want to.
If you want to Google it, I don't suggest you do. But that is the champion.
Definitely not Google image, just Google words.
You know when you're in war, and you go, call forth your champion and let us parlay.
Yeah.
And the winner will get blah, blah, blah. And on their side, they call out Goliath
of God.
Some Goliath of God. And on the black side, we're like,
call Cardi B.
Call Cardi B. And she comes out like
she is the
exaggerated
personification.
breasts, exaggerated
It's embarrassing.
I mean,
It doesn't remind you of that
and all
slave
she
lady?
goes- and all she goes is, when she stands there, oh.
But doesn't it remind you of that? You remember that picture of that slave lady that they
was
used to research because she had big lips, big breasts,
Show the
big
picture.
butt. Like,
Show
that's
the
what
picture.
they're doing
That's
and
what
bringing
they're
Cardi
doing
B.
now.
And we're like,
like-
and the Uncle Toms, the real ones, like, shut up. Stop talking
She's
like
us.
this. You're ignorant. You don't know about our colonial history and our past.
She is
The
us.
plantation is here. And as long as it stays here, it doesn't matter. You might have opportunity abounding around you, but as long as you're bound here, that's it. You're finished. So let's talk about
Charlemagne the God sitting there, right? I was so embarrassed for him. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed.
He kind of tried to rebuke him.
Whatever.
But it was a weak
He still
rebuke.
voted
It was
for
a
him, please.
weak rebuke.
Here's Charlemagne the God, and he's sitting there, and he's going.
Just play the video.
Just watch this.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
I mean, you ain't black. You ain't black. If you don't know who to vote for between me and the other white, between this white guy and that white guy, you ain't black.
It's like
And
he's
just-
talking to his house Negro. And he's telling his house
It's
Negro,
like House Negro.
go out there.
If you have a problem deciding who to vote for, you're not black.
And you know, people will be
Imagine
upset because
if-
we're going for their cultural heroes right now.
I'm going
But
for
we
it.
have to pull
I'm
down
I
this
don't
whitewash.
care.
We have to pull down
I
this
don't
hypocrisy.
care.
We have to
I
pull
don't
down
care.
all
Look
this
at 50
nonsense.
Cent, weak. I'm sorry. I don't care. I live in England. You want to drive by, maybe know some man's here. Please. Please, He's the one that said it. My name is Tobi. I'm saying this comment. You wanted to come. But listen to 50 Cent, right? 50 Cent put out this tweet. And the tweet said, I ain't voting. I can't even say it because it was too filled with incendiary words. I ain't voting for Biden. Have you seen what Blanky wants to do about taxes? Nah, I'm voting for the other devil, right? That's basically what he said. Yeah. And then what's her name? Chelsea Handler. Chelsea, the most obscene, vulgar-mouthed human being in the world, stopped her show, by the way, to become an anti-Trump activist, and then took to Jimmy Fallon's program to say, don't worry, I've spoken to 50. Next thing you know, 50, because she was his ex-girlfriend, don't know how that happened, but she was like, I've spoken to 50, don't worry, I put him in his place. And the next thing 50's tweeting like, Black Donald Trump. It's like
what did she say?
A G?
Oh, what did she pay? What did she say? What she pay?
That's my problem. I'm looking at these people and I'm like, you got put in your place. If that's not white privilege, the ability to silence a whole gangster, a whole thug, a whole one, not a half one.
Shot 50 time in them things, a whole gangster just shut down. Now this is a great segue because we were going on the experts.
But
I think it's time.
I need to actually show you the video because I don't think people are going to believe me unless we haven't actually spoken about the
experts. Let's close on that.
We haven't spoken about the experts or global warming, by the way.
Let's close on that.
Maybe we should do global warming as another program.
Oh, but the experts has to play this week.
Okay, talk about the experts.
Okay, so I think we need to make this segue.
Look at this. Okay.
What does he do? He's supporting Trump?
He says he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes, which, by the way, isn't a plan of Joe Biden's. That's a lie. So he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes because he doesn't want to go from being 50 cents to 20 cents. And I had to remind him that he was a black person, so he can't vote for Donald Trump, and that he shouldn't be influencing an entire swath of people who may listen to him because he's worried about his own personal pocketbook. So I haven't heard back from him yet, but I am willing to, seal the deal in more ways than one if he changes his mind and publicly denounces Donald Trump. I might be willing to go for another spin, if you know what I'm talking about.
She going to have sex with him to change his mind.
But do you see this? Do you know the level of insult? What she just said.
To remind him
that he a house Negro.
He a house Negro. Get in line, Negro.
And I'm gonna give him the privilege. Like what the freak is? What's going on?
I'm gonna put him in his place. I'm gonna tell him, remind him that he's black. Isn't that what we're being bombarded with?
I'm going to reminding us that
get
he's
in your
black.
place.
But what does that? No, what does that word mean?
What does it mean?
I'm going. I need to hear this. I'm gonna remind. I need to feel her nuance. I'm gonna remind him that he's black. Basically, I'm gonna remind him of his pain, his history, the stripes on the back of his ancestors. I'm going to remind him that he was small, made to feel inferior, and that he needs to remember that pain. Because what's he going to do with it? Suddenly he's going to stop thinking here, and then I'm going to convince him in more ways than one and put his brain down here.
Exactly. I'm going to put his brain in his penis.
Because this is where black people think, basically.
Black people think from their penis. And so if he's okay with it.
Do you know how racist that is?
Exactly. If he's okay with it, I'm going to put him back in his place. I'm going to remind him that he thinks with his penis because he's black, lest he wakes up the dumb other black people.
The other dumb black people. And he makes them think.
Because we got to keep them ghetto, and I got to show them that I will reward them with my white body if they do what I tell them to do.
Wait,
Are you here? No.
How did that slide?
Here's the thing. But here it is.
How did that slide?
It slid.
How much Vaseline are you wearing that you can slip through that? How much baby oil are you rubbed in?
Okay, bro, we can. That imagery just takes it to a whole.
No, but seriously, she just. I tried to grab her. She went. She's just gone.
No, she slipped.
how she slide through
No,
Twitter
a
like
lot
that?
of them slip. Biden slips. She slips. Everybody who is, for me. Let me just say something. I did not believe.
So basically, when
I did not believe white privilege existed until I saw that. Those who accuse you of white privilege are the very ones that exert their white privilege against you. Imagine you got a whole gangster,
a whole gangster,
a whole 50
a
cent.
whole millionaire. I don't know.
He ain't even 50 cent anymore. He's 50 billion cent. You got a whole 50 billion cent to be reduced to 5 cents and sex.
Free.
It was that easy to change.
He prostituted his opinion.
principles
Oh man.
and to lead loads of people astray with him.
I'm hurt by that. I'm really hurt by
That's
that.
what happens when black people fall out of line. When black people fall out of line, we're
quickly
either
reminded.
blast them in the newspaper, like what happened to Letitia Wright, just to remind her, remember, you a house Negro, you work for us, get in line, or we cancel them.
But do you know how much Vaseline people are wearing? I'm telling you, people are slipping through. I don't agree with this man. I don't agree with his politics. But think about this. This man was not an enemy. Remember Colonel Gaddafi was not an enemy till the day he said, let's unite Africa, gold standard. Let's peg the currency to gold.
Just talk about
the
that
moment
for a second.
he said that,
Gaddafi-
Hillary Clinton rose in her Jezebelness.
Gaddafi wanted a United States of Africa.
Yeah.
And
But he wanted to be king of kings. He's a psychopath.
No,
let's face it.
let's face it.
The vision often comes from psychopaths. The greatest things come from the maddest people.
No, the vision
There's
was
something
there.
called the wisdom of
I
mad
want to build
men.
the United States of Africa. I want to lift the status of Africans everywhere. I want to promote them, right?
Right.
And he did it by putting Africa back on the gold standard. Because if Africa should ever return back to its gold, the world is in trouble because all of the money that we've borrowed has to go back to a unit of account.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's gold, the world's in trouble because most of the world's resources come from Africa.
This is why the strongest plantation in the world is not a field where you pick cotton. It's the mind. It's the mind. And as long as you can keep people enslaved in the mind.
Because look what they did. Look what they did to him. Look what they did to him. All of a sudden the newspaper started running. Gaddafi's a terrorist.
Yeah.
Gaddafi murdered loads of people. You know when it's expedient, and we fall for it.
There was a time
because
Mandela,
content-
remember there was a time Mandela was a terrorist.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Right.
terrorists are caught. United
But Saddam
States
Hussein
announced
has
him
been a
as a
terrorist
terrorist.
for years,
Right.
right? But he was evil for years, but nobody cared as long as we could
Keep him in line and use him.
and get oil when we wanted
Governments don't have friends, they have agendas. Rev Celia once told me, governments don't have friends, they simply have agendas. And unfortunately, the masses are gullible swaths in this agenda. And you can know the truth, but the truth is most people want to feel right. They're not concerned with things being right. The enemy of success is not failure. The enemy of success is the illusion of security. It's the feeling of safety.
It's this idea.
That's why people still, for example, people watching, they know the only way to be financially advanced is to put your money into assets. Mm-hmm. They know the only way to be financially advanced is to build some business. But they would rather get into debt for a car than their own idea. Think about that. You have ideas in your head that are great. You consider it stupid to borrow money for your idea. But to borrow money for a £100,000 car,
That makes sense.
that makes so much sense.
A car that depreciates in
value, but your idea, and then you watch someone else take your idea and run with it because the plantation is in your head.
In your head. And the thing
If
is,
you're going to get into debt,
thing is,
get into debt for your destiny.
The
Like,
plantation today is not biased to just black people. And I know we're painting black people as the poster child of it, and support black-owned businesses, support black-owned
it's an attack on humanity.
It's an attack on humanity. We are being dumbed. And let me tell you how we're
Remember
being
that
dumbed.
experiment by that
tell you how-
psychiatrist? His name was something the Bastard. They actually renamed him because he did an experiment where he reduced people's thinking faculty so that people started believing they were numbers instead of names. He disintegrated their identity so much that when people would ask him what your name is, he was like, 2-4. He proved that human beings could be programmed.
Absolutely.
If you can break them down enough, collectivize
And that's really
them.
what's happening. I mean, I'm sad today that we see the we see the indoctrination of our kids in school. I'm sad today that I watch Good Morning Television and I see
Comedy used to be funny.
People on Good Morning Television talking to a parents of a, I think she was 8-year-old girl for misgendering her friend who came in the next day and decided to change her sex. And now all of a sudden, because of COVID-19, our schools are shut down. Do you know what that means? We have the opportunity to educate our greatest asset. We have the opportunity to invest. I know it's hard work. Believe me, we got 3 kids between us.
Yeah.
I know it's hard work, but we have the greatest opportunity. Mums, dads, parents, stay-at-home mums, stay-at-home dads. This is the greatest time to get those books and to get the Bible and to get the scripture and put the greatest foundation in your children that they'll ever have. But what are we using that time for? It's time to get them back to school. It's time to get them back to school. Actually, I think this is the moment to say it's time to build homeschool
We've
communities.
outsourced our responsibilities.
We should stop outsourcing our responsibility to the state.
Oh.
We can't do that. The state has an agenda over our children.
It does.
The state wants to. The state makes your children your enemy. We look at children today. When they get past 16, 17, something taps in their brain. They start becoming enemies of their parents, their Judeo-Christian parents. And then their Judeo-Christian parents have to lower their values just so their kids can stay at home. And take your boyfriend upstairs.
My house,
In my house, where are you going upstairs?
Where are you going upstairs?
Oh, can John sleep over? Hell no. John can sleep over, but he's not going home the next day. I promise you that much. Oh, don't go into your kid's room. Hell no, I'm going into my kid's room.
Give your children privacy and locks on their door.
Hell no, ain't no lock going on.
You live in my
door.
house. Where's your privacy?
Exactly.
It's my house.
When it's your house, get your privacy. It's my house. Excuse me?
We lost the plot, but we've been slowly programmed into the state. I really wanted to play the experts thing, but...
Play the experts. Let's finish on... Let's go on a break. We'll be right back. My brother wants to play the experts. We haven't talked about global warming.
Yeah, the experts and global warming. That's where we can close.
Let's close on the experts and global warming. We'll be back after this.
So I've been thinking, what if you got it all wrong? What if we've learnt the wrong way? What if the entire world was upside down? How do we turn it the right way up again? So we call ourselves Q. The Q is out there watching me right now. And these are people who are here to break the status quo. Am I living life the way I meant to live life right now? Because the status quo demands that you live life a certain way. Get good grades, get a job, get a mortgage, get married, die, and retire. You can't die and then retire, can you? So what if life has it backward? What if the people who color outside the lines are the real ones and the people who aren't are the zombies fulfilling a dying dream? And so Q was created for the misbehaviors, for those who break the rules. At its height, Q stands for quotient. We divided our organization into 3 parts that ultimately mean prosperity: wealth, health, and lifestyle. Each one of these is a game, total market space of various games that you can plug into that suit you. You will win the game that you were created for. This is why Einstein said, everybody's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, even the fish will believe it's stupid. We simply want to unlock the genius in each individual by making sure that they get into the game that they were made for. So get in the queue.
Okay, we're back. Guys, the experts, play the video.
There's a video I sent my brother. It's hilarious.
It's
by
hilarious,
the way.
but
if you got a sense of
if you
humor.
got a sense of humor, but if you are one of those people that don't, we've tried to censor this and bleep this as much as possible. It's got a lot of swearing.
A bit of swearing. It's not a lot, but it's hilarious, and it makes a point.
Exactly. If you get the point, it's funny. If you're one of those like, I can't believe,
I
can't believe these men of God are watching.
I never hear swear word.
Yeah.
Okay, listen.
I'm your news correspondent. I want to be a free man, and this is BS News.
I want to be a free man.
We're joined here today with Dr. Haima Schill and Dr. O.B. The Ent. So, doctors,
as we all know, there's a lot of misinformation being sent around. But what are the
first name.
experts saying?
Well,
Yeah,
as we all
BBL.
know now, anal swabs are the new form of testing. But experts have come out and said that we can taste and smell the swabs ourselves to see if we have indeed been infected. Now, if you don't smell or taste shit, contact your local GP immediately, as you may indeed have the virus. Looks like shit to me.
I'd just like to add that experts are now advising that you wear a mask whilst asleep. New studies show that you're twice as likely to catch the virus whilst in your dreams. So, night-night. Don't let the mask bugs bite.
Well, there you have it from the government-funded experts themselves. And now here's Sandra with the sports. The experts! Tell us what to do, experts! The experts are silence! Join us as we recite the experts' prayer!
Our experts, whose art is data,
manipulates thy game.
by InfoCop, lockdown will be done on Earth as it is in China. Give us the news and we'll daily spread fear and indoctrination
As we censor those who question against us and lead us into domination. To deliver them to our people.
in the name of masks,
The vaccine and social distancing. Amen.
our experts.
All hail the experts!
The scientists settle.
Question not the experts!
Isn't that so true?
Isn't it just
Listen,
true?
we are in the time where everyone is trying to shut down voices and tell us to listen to the experts.
Correct.
My only frustration with that is, well, let's just look at who the experts are. The experts of coronavirus, who are on CNN, MSNBC, given airtime by every news outlet in the world, is Bill and Melinda Gates.
Right. They're the new experts.
They're the new experts on the COVID-19 vaccine and handout and future vaccines. They've also become the new experts on climate change. Neither of these people have a degree in biomedicine, in immunology, in virology. They don't have doctorates in any medical field or ecological field or geographical field or any of those things, but they're the experts.
Right.
And then when you try to speak,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, shut up, you're not an expert.
Right.
But neither are they. Who are the experts? The experts are these plutocrats. That's really what they are. These wealthy elite systems. Look at my guy, Bill Gates. He's just purchased farmland everywhere.
All over the states.
India has just democratized its farming industry. That means that they can sell it to anybody now they want to. Before they had to sell their produce through government contracts. Now they can sell it to anybody. Who do you think is going to buy up all those farmlands?
The experts.
The experts. Let me tell you what's going to happen in this new climate crisis that we're talking about. This hoax of a climate crisis. I must.
Are we allowed to
I
say
said-
hoax?
I said-
I hope we don't get removed
I
for
said
that.
climate
We
crisis.
might need to build a
I just
website
said
and
climate
host our
crisis.
videos.
I think Dennis is rubbing off on me. I just said climate crisis. Let me tell you about this climate crisis.
Oh my good God. Oh my good
That
God.
was so weird. That was weird. Okay, tell us. Go on.
Huh? No, you were saying something.
You said, let me tell you about this.
You were saying that. Wow.
Oh, was I?
into twin transfusion brainology. What's
I
going
think
on?
this. Okay, maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah,
climate
so maybe
change-
you shouldn't
is
call
climate
it
change
the
real?
hoax.
Is climate
That's
change
what I was
happening?
saying, because you got to be
Short answer,
careful.
because we run
Is
out of
climate
time.
change
Real.
happening? Yes, it is. The climate is changing, and that's why they got a 97% consensus on climate change. The climate is changing, but see the switch. It's just political talk. It was called global warming.
Yeah.
They changed it to climate change. The reason why they did that is because some people are going, well, it's cooling down
At
now.
first it was called
It's like
climate cooling. Now it's called climate warming. And then
global. Now it's called climate change to just make up for the fact that it could go either way, and they could just. It's another.
The climate is always changing.
Let me tell you, in every crime, what they say, and I'm no detective, but I'll tell you what detectives say because I watch a lot of crime shows. They always say, follow the money.
Follow the money.
Follow the money. That's all you got to do. Follow the money.
Follow the money.
People are going to make immense wealth from this. Okay, let me break it down just quickly. In order to control a society, they must learn helplessness. And they must be complicit in their own helplessness. This is why after every disaster, we had a justification. 9/11, go to war. You know, because the people were in a state of learned helplessness. And they'll even attack people who aren't in the state of learned helplessness.
Like what?
The government needs to help us. Now imagine COVID-19 was just a dress rehearsal. We all became helpless. Remember at first it was like panic. There's this meme I posted of...
no, but not just that. We're tattling on our neighbours. We're not just in learned helplessness.
Yeah.
We're tattling. Look what happened in Canada.
No,
Canada,
but there was...
docile, sorry, forgive me, but docile Canada that is just so calm and everybody's so nice and everybody's just so friendly. Liberal, docile Canada broke into a house to arrest some people, and the police who broke into the house weren't even wearing masks.
Yeah.
They broke into the house, arrested them for COVID violations, and they're not wearing masks themselves.
Right.
And then they reported back the reason we're not wearing masks is because it was an emergency, and in a COVID emergency, we're not obligated to follow the same laws.
Of course. Because COVID just understood that. The virus just went,
COVID's like, you're a policeman.
Policeman.
Yeah. Let me see your badge number. You legit.
That's science, guys.
That's science. Believe science.
The experts.
The experts.
But it's insane.
It's amazing how the Mayor Lightfoot of Chicago tells everybody, you so much just go out for a haircut. I'm going to come and we're going to arrest you and we're going to throw you in jail. 2 minutes later, I'm allowed to get a haircut because I'm a public spokesperson.
Even, what's that crazy one? The other one. What's her name? What's the other one who went for a hairdressing?
Pelosi. Pelosi.
Didn't let anyone out in
down
LA.
San Francisco, and here she is sneaking into her hairdresser.
And she blames
she's not wearing a mask, and she blamed
the hair.
And nobody's saying nothing.
These people have Vaseline.
Nobody's saying nothing.
Do you know what? Do you know what the problem is though? Left wingers have something right wingers don't have. Creativity.
Not just creativity. They have the institutions.
We are conscientious. They are creative.
Woo, that's powerful.
That's the truth.
That's powerful.
And creativity will always trump conscientiousness.
Right.
Because the majority of people are emotional. We can give information. No one cares. That's why we need to wrap information in entertainment.
That's why people don't like us. Because we're not being conscientious and standing behind a pulpit preaching. Right?
We're being creative, using on the table, and how dare you ever say that's a mummy water spirit? It's like, shut up. It's like, dude, like, how stupid can you be and still breathe?
But there's so much flat out. What's this guy that's being recalled? The governor of LA County or something? Can't remember his name. He's such a woeful leader. Woeful leader.
The New York guy?
No, he's woeful, but I'm not talking about him.
He's going to get arrested, I think.
I hope so. Governor of LA, what's in LA? California, that's it. The California governor is he's about to be, I hope he's about to be recalled. Gavin Newsom, right? Failed leader. My guy's like, you can't even eat outside, you can't eat anywhere. If you're caught eating, blah, 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 you'll be arrested. But here he is in the Rose Garden, spending...
Oh, with his family and stuff when they did it?
On meals. And
yeah,
and he came out the next day. Yes, I failed morally. I must admit, I failed morally. No, you got caught. Let's just be clear. It is.
Like, you
this
should resign.
is-
And I'll say
this
the same
is-
thing for Senator
this whole
Ted Cruz,
thing, white
who
privilege.
went out with his family when there was a winter
I
blitz.
can't say the same thing.
I can say the same thing
that's
because
a
the
border dash.
right, but because the rules have suggested
It's a
it that way.
border
The
dash.
modern day rules
You
have
can't say the
suggested that
same
you
thing.
should suffer with
I'll
your
tell
people.
you, no, I'll tell you why you can't say the same thing, because he pre-booked this holiday.
Yeah,
no,
but the
let me just say
political
this.
climate that
No,
it's gone
no,
into,
let me
he
just say
should have
this.
been
No,
smarter.
let me- no, let
He
me
should
say
have been
this.
smart. I'm
No,
not saying what he
here's
did was
the
wrong.
thing,
He
though.
just should have been smarter.
Here's the thing, though. He is not the governor. He's a senator.
Okay.
Senators don't live in Texas. They all moved to Washington.
Right.
People don't get this. Like, if something happens in San Francisco, Nancy Pelosi's going to put out a press release. She's going to say, I'm sorry. She's not going to fly to San Francisco because there's a governor there. It's
Right.
the job of the governor to do all those things.
Right.
It is a failure of governance. It's not a failure of Senate legislature. He is a legislator. He is not an executioner.
Yeah.
Okay, does the optics look bad? Probably.
Yes.
But can I tell you,
It's being politicized.
No, let me tell you, the Washington Post put out this article. Something like Biden is doing so well staying in the White House and not going to Texas, unlike Trump. But he could be he could be in a little bit of problem if he doesn't go to Texas. Unlike Trump, who went to the places of relief and threw towels to the people. It's like, unlike Trump.
He's so dishonest now
it's
that
like,
you have to
why are
be
you-
stupid
why are you
or willfully
suspending-
stupid to
why
not
are you
see it.
suspending this guy? It should be the federal government who brings federal relief.
Right.
And then we should talk about local governments. And I know this whole argument should not be about windmills versus... and there's plenty
That's
of
what it is.
policies,
It's California
but it
versus Texas going.
it shouldn't be about
It's like-
windmills versus fossil fuels. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be about
Yeah.
state grid versus federal grid.
Mhm.
It should be about the fact that people
Are
actually
dying.
died.
Yeah.
We don't even know how many people
But it's being
died.
politicized.
People actually died.
Yeah.
Once we can have that conversation and say who died,
Yeah.
then we can move on to who's to blame. And I find this to be the biggest problem of our day. It is the lack of hunger of our press.
Yeah.
And it is the lack of hunger of our citizenry who
Yeah.
don't demand better. of
It's
our
amazing
state
how
leaders
this has been
to say, actually, we can't just move on. No marriage can just move on.
Yeah.
You have to find out who did this.
Yeah.
Like, who caused this COVID-19? Like, we're just moved on and we're just in bed with China. And look what Biden said about China killing the Uyghurs?
Just
the Muslims
insane.
in China.
How much Vaseline and baby oil these
being
people have?
slaughtered.
It's
Look
just,
at Joe Biden's town hall response to
these
mass
guys are oily.
genocide.
Snake oil.
Look at
Watch it.
You know, Chinese leaders, if you know anything about Chinese history, it has always been the time when China has been victimized by the outer world is when they haven't been unified at home. So the central, to vastly overstated, the central principle of Xi Jinping is that there must be a united, tightly controlled China. And he uses his rationale for the things he does based on that. I point out to him, no American president can be sustained as a president if he doesn't reflect the values of the United States. And so the idea, I'm not going to speak out against what he's doing in Hong Kong, what he's doing with the Uyghurs in western mountains of China, and Taiwan trying to end the one China policy by making it forceful. I said, and by the way, he said he gets it. Culturally, there are different norms at each country, and their leaders are expected to follow.
I mean, just think like, oh, well, you know, different cultures are different and they have different ways of handling their own people. Just what? Genocide?
Sterilization?
Sterilization? Turning them into
eunuchs? Yeah. I mean,
I
that's just cultural.
You don't think that's a human rights violation?
You don't think that's like Hitler? You don't think that's
You don't think there's
that might
something-
be a good link?
And you don't think that these people-
Trump removed from Twitter. You don't think you should maybe remove him
this
from
guy,
Twitter?
and this guy, you don't understand. He is the creditor. We are the debtors.
Yeah.
And that's why we have weak leaders who aren't speaking against them and saying, hey, there are plenty of viruses that were named after the country they originated from.
Yeah.
I mean, when viruses originate from Africa, they're quick. They're very quick.
So it's from Nigeria.
Ebola, they're very quick to tell us all of the viruses by name, country, wherever.
No one from Nigeria is
This one,
allowed.
It's like, this one started in Wuhan.
And it was like,
And nobody's
where
saying...
did it start?
Nobody's saying...
It might have started with a bat mating with an antelope. What?
Like, at
In Wuhan?
least let's
Wuhan is the most civilized,
investigate.
it's the most civilized area, one of the most civilized. This isn't a bush place. This is actually a very high, up-and-coming place. They have one wet market, or a few wet markets.
But my problem is the lack of investigation.
It's the
Look at
lack,
this.
but also it's the limitations. They've sent a team in now to investigate, but the Chinese government has put limitations on them.
They're not letting them investigate. They
Oh,
said
not
leave it
anymore?
alone. World Health Organization came out saying we're leaving it alone.
Oh,
just
okay.
think about this.
Cool.
Think
It's all
about
good.
think about the frustration. This is the first time.
But China
this
owns
is
the
not
world.
first-
Don't you
exactly.
get it? The
But this is-
hijackers run the plane
but this
and they
is
own
not
it.
The first time, and this is why so many people all over the world felt this election. Because this wasn't about an American election. And I think
Oh,
most
it's big.
Americans miss this.
They've gone back to sleep.
This is about the leader of the free world. Look at what Biden's doing now. He's going back to globalism.
Yeah.
Even his own Democrats are like, why are you dropping the borders? Why are you letting all these people in? Because they know that the only way to keep power is to import voters.
Yeah.
Now you're losing power. Let's disenfranchise. There's nothing more anti-Black Lives Matter than the disenfranchising of black people who need jobs to bring in people
Cheaper
from
labor.
India and all of these places. And it's not just about cheap labor. It's about the importing of votes. We all
And guess what happens to your
know
businesses
that
when you hike
the
taxes?
average person does not look at the policies of increased taxes
Mhm.
and federal abortion up to childbirth
Mhm.
and say, these are great policies.
Right.
But if you import voters from other countries
And you promise them welfare
and you
from the
promise them
state.
a driving license, people with this voter suppression, look how they don't even have driving licenses. You give them a driving license. In most places, you only need a driving license to vote. You don't need to prove you're from the country.
Mm-hmm.
So we are importing voters in masses
Yeah.
because they don't care about America. And anybody that does care about America is called a white nationalist. And any preacher who cares about America is called a white nationalist. We serve a God who cares about nations. The last time globalism was tried,
Genesis 11.
the first time is in Genesis 11.
Yeah.
And God didn't like it.
Yeah.
And
But
he
it's,
still
you know
don't
what,
like
you
it.
know why it was tried? It was a project of fear. They literally said, "Let's God wipe us off the face of the earth again." This was, let's become something that can defy God.
Let's become bigger
And
than
now,
God. Let's take care of the globe for God because
not
God
just
can't
the
do it for
globe,
himself.
exactly, now it's the climate. Now it's a God-esque approach. And you've appointed a new Nimrod, a mighty
But do you know
person
the
above
difference
all the
was?
people.
Do you know the difference was that I figured out?
Wow.
I figured this out. The whole world was of one language.
Yes.
That's what made it so easy.
Yes.
Now, when you look at that in conjunction with the book of Daniel,
Mhm.
that Daniel was forced to learn not just language but
Literature, yes.
Right?
We're being indoctrinated
because now
again.
we were of one language, so we didn't need literature because
Yeah.
we all thought the same.
Yeah.
Now we need to indoctrinate, and look, we said, find me young men.
Correct.
Now we need to indoctrinate children. Now we need to
Children.
put Greta Thunberg there.
Right.
And now Greta Thunberg isn't a child. She's 18 now. She's a legit adult.
Yeah.
She can be persecuted
They need a
now.
new
She can
child
be
to abuse.
She is an adult. Now,
Yeah.
now we have this young generation. Like, that's how Babylon thinks.
Gullible and emotional.
Let's find
No
the gullible young,
intellect.
And look what my friend
No
Elijah
resistance.
Chanet. Let's close with this. Look
Yeah, I
what,
think this is
I think
brilliant.
we should close with what Elijah Chanet posted about a young global warming activist.
We might have to build a website because I have a feeling it's going to be pulled down.
Yeah, we'll see.
We might have to build somewhere that people can come and watch
We'll
it.
see, but I hope it's not.
I
But
hope
guys,
not, but
we close with this. Watch this video, and we'll be right back.
If there's one thing I hate in life, it is performative activism. Let's look at a throwback. Ask a quick question, yeah?
Yes.
So you're passionate about climate change?
Yes, I am.
So where's that? Yeah. So where's that paper from?
I don't know.
Isn't it from a tree?
Quite possibly.
So how isn't that anti-climate change? And the coffee cup.
Can I terminate this interview now, please?
Oh, okay. Cool.
Thank you.
Be genuine. That's all I ask.
I thought that was brilliant.
It was brilliant. Do you see his
kudos
face?
to you, Elijah Chanet. That was brilliant.
And this is not a denial of, just in case people say, climate deniers, you know, all these taglines.
Climate is changing.
The climate's changing.
Fact. It's always been
It's
changing.
gone up,
Fact.
I think, a degree every 50 years.
It's gone from global warming to global cooling. Fact.
Right.
Do we need to take care of our planet?
Absolutely.
How do we take care of our planet? Is not through globalism.
No.
100%.
No.
China is the biggest contributor to global warming in the world.
Right.
If we can't hold them responsible, then all we're doing is dumbing down our own nations and making them more powerful.
Right.
You don't want a country that Biden thinks is living up to its own culture. We don't call that culture, we call that mass genocide.
Correct. Correct.
Let's just be clear. We don't want that leading the world, the free world. Last time we had that attempt, it was Hitler. Last time we had that, it was Stalin.
Absolutely.
And they tried to take over the world.
Absolutely.
What's it going to take for us to wake up and to realize?
That's the question there.
That
wokeism is strange.
The road to hell is often paved with
Good intentions. Wokeism is, it's not woke. You're awake in a dream. Have you ever done that where you were awake in a dream and you were like convinced you're awake and then somebody woke you up, you're like, oh my goodness, that was a dream? That's what wokeism is. You're awake in some weird utopia. You're sleepwalking through life. And do you know what people said all of these? Finally back to normalcy. Do you know what that meant? Back to the days where politicians lied to you and you just trusted everything they said. Back to the days where you were dumb and we were the people, basically we're not going to feed you anything on Twitter anymore in a language that the layman can understand. We'll have our language and we'll do what we do and you just trust us to take care of you. You just shut up.
Ourselves in Washington, a place with no
It's a Ponzi scheme.
No manufacturing jobs, no ability to grow in any area of industry. But how's that the most richest state in America?
No questions asked.
Nobody's asking any questions.
No, and democracy, last time I checked, meant power to the people. We don't know that
We're not in democracy anymore. We're in plutocracy. We're in power of the wealthy over the peasant class.
Correct. Correct. And those of you watching who are middle class, you may not be aware that that is going to be eroded. Middle class is well-dressed poverty. That's all it is. This might be the wisest time of your life to start thinking and putting your thinking cap on about how to be more strategic in these times. And I think the Babylonian thing that you just outlined was amazing, learning the language and the literature. We can't only know Churchanese, Christianese, or whatever. We've actually got to get educated. Your first investment, people keep ask me after these, what should I invest in? One answer, yourself.
Learning.
Your greatest investment is in you.
What use is money in the hands of a fool since he has no desire to get wisdom?
Serious.
Stop buying oil and gold and buy wisdom first.
Buy wisdom first.
But for now, my name's Tomi Arayomi.
My name's Tobi Arayomi.
You've been watching On the Table. Let us know what you think. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. Subscribe. We'll see you next time.
So I've been thinking, what if you got it all wrong? What if we've learnt the wrong way? What if the entire world was upside down? How do we turn it the right way up again? So we call ourselves Q. The Q is out there watching me right now. And these are people who are here to break the status quo. Am I living life the way I'm meant to live life right now? Because the status quo demands that you live life a certain way. Get good grades, get a job, get a mortgage, get married, die, and retire. You can't die and then retire, can you? So what if life has it backward? What if the people who color outside the lines are the real ones and the people who aren't are the zombies fulfilling a dying dream? And so Q was created for the misbehaviors, for those who break the rules. At its height, Q stands for quotient. We divided our organization into 3 parts that ultimately mean prosperity: wealth, health, and lifestyle. Each one of these is a game, total market space of various games that you can plug into that suit you. You will win the game that you were created for. This is why Einstein said, everybody's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, even the fish will believe it's stupid. We simply want to unlock the genius in each individual by making sure that they get into the game that they were made for. So get in the queue.
We all have a life.
No west, no bad. No reading, no duty. Female, no food.